Okay, I'm just here today with Dr. Wallach from Longevity. How are you today?
Very fine, Angel. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for letting me interview you on the fly. I really appreciate that. And would you like to just tell YouTube about what you do and what you've been doing?
Sure, thank you. Well, first of all, I think my view on health is different because I have a degree in agriculture. My major is in animal husbandry and nutrition. My minor was in field crops and soils. I also have a degree in veterinary medicine. I also have a postdoctoral fellowship in comparative pathology, where I do autopsies on people and animals.
Oh, wow.
Oh. Yeah, my biggest project was with the National Institutes of Health. It was an 8-year project called the Center for the Biology of Natural Systems. Did over 20,000 autopsies, which was like 17,000 and some change on over 454 species of animals and 3,000 human beings and 20 million chemistries and 20 million slides of special stains, looking to see.
Sorry, how did you keep your mind, like,
Sane?
Yeah, thank you.
Well, sure, when you do something like that, you have to have a purpose. It's not just something you're doing for idle purposes. At that time, in the early 60s, it was felt that pollution was going to wipe out the earth, and I was employed to find out what part pollution played in the genesis or the cause of diseases in various species of animals and human beings. And so what I was looking for with all these biochemistries and all these autopsies and the big zoos around the United States and in Canada was to find just how much pollution did have to do with the cause of degenerative diseases. And make a long story short, at the end of the project, there was a 1,200-page book that came out of it that's in the Smithsonian Institute as a national treasure called The Diseases of Exotic Animals, which included the human material. And the bottom line of the study was, after these 12 years, was that every animal and every human being that dies of what we would refer to as natural causes instead of trauma, those that died of natural causes died of a nutritional deficiency rather than pollution. It was kind of a shock and a surprise to everybody. And there were 75 scientific papers in medical and veterinary and scientific journals, plus several books, including that big one. And at the 1977 point, I actually discovered the cause, prevention, cure of cystic fibrosis, a disease thought to be genetically transmitted in humans, and found that it was actually a mineral deficiency of the trace mineral selenium during pregnancy or shortly after pregnancy, and that it could be prevented and reversed just with supplementation of that mineral.
Wow.
And I got fired for it.
Oh my gosh.
Because the powers that be at the Emory University and the Yerkes Primate Center, which were national, working for NASA, the Space Administration. These are their monkeys for space. And I was doing autopsies on those monkeys that died of natural causes again.
Oh, you mean actual monkeys? Okay, because
yeah,
I thought
monkeys.
you were talking about like the people from NASA were monkeys.
No. These are NASA monkeys. These are little critters
Okay.
with tails.
I thought you were being like sarcastic about the
I'm
people
never
working.
sarcastic.
Sorry.
I might be aggressive, but not sarcastic. And so they fired me because they said, Wallach, you got to be sniffing glue. There's no way. Everybody knows this is a genetically transmitted disease. And now this is one you got wrong. It's not.
But why would they fire you over that?
Well, because there's thousands of jobs based on continuing that theory.
Oh, I see.
Oh, now you got it, right?
Yeah.
And so I was for the kids and they were for the jobs. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so that's how I went back to school up in Portland, Oregon, became a primary care physician as a naturopathic physician so they could treat kids legally to save them from cystic fibrosis. And along the way, went to China, Qishan province, China, 1989, because there was a disease in China, in Qishan province, China, called Qishan disease. It was a cardiomyopathy heart disease where the kids under the age of 10 would die of a heart attack caused by a deficiency of this mineral selenium, the same mineral deficiency I believe caused cystic fibrosis. And I said, if that's correct, if those kids are there dying, 13 out of 1,000 are dying from the selenium deficiency causing this cardiomyopathy heart disease, then some of them have to have cystic fibrosis, if I'm correct. because they're both caused by a selenium deficiency. And that's not too outrageous, because calcium deficiency causes blood clotting problems, osteoporosis, arthritis, high blood pressure, periodontal disease, bone spurs, kidney stones, all these various things that don't seem to be related, but they're all caused by a calcium deficiency. So it's not too outrageous there'd be multiples of diseases caused by a selenium deficiency.
Gotcha.
So to make a long story short, went to Kishan province, did 1,700 autopsies on kids under the age of 10.
Wow, that
died of
must have
this
been hard.
That's heavy. That's very heavy. But again, it was to save kids.
Yeah.
And so you have to do these things to save the greater
Yeah.
masses. And what I found was that 35% of the 1,700 kids that I did the autopsies on, 35%, fully 595 of them, in addition to dying of cardiomyopathy heart disease, aka Kishan disease, they also had cystic fibrosis, and 100% of them, 1,700 of them, had muscular dystrophy. That was kind of a side finding we weren't expecting.
Wow.
And so we knew the cause, prevention, cure of muscular dystrophy. Worked at, since I was a primary care physician, I could treat kids with muscular dystrophy and cystic fibrosis. I was able to reverse the, quote, genetic markers, unquote, through supplementation. And this is called epigenetics, where you control how DNA and genes perform with nutrition. Okay, so this is called epigenetics. And my most recent book, which came out last month, is entitled Epigenetics, The Death of the Genetic Theory of Disease Transmission. And to back up a little bit, 5 years ago, we gave Jerry Lewis from the muscular dystrophy telethon. Jerry Lewis, Jerry's Kids. He'd been putting on that telethon for 22 years, and so we contacted Jerry Lewis Productions in Las Vegas, which is his business, and said, Jerry, we don't want any money from the Muscular Dystrophy Foundation for research because we already found the cause, prevention, and cure of muscular dystrophy. Since these are Jerry's kids, you're the ones that kept this disease on the front burner for 22 years with your telethon. Do you want to be the one to make the announcement that the cure has been found? He got excited. He took all these charts to the Muscular Dystrophy Foundation, and the Muscular Dystrophy Foundation fired Jerry Lewis.
Holy cow.
Yeah, they fired Jerry Lewis.
So they don't really want a cure,
They
in
don't
other
want a
words.
cure, right? They want the income stream looking for the cure. And
That
so-
is such BS.
Yes,
I
that's
can't
exactly
believe
right.
that.
Well, these two stories, I'm getting fired for firing the cure for cystic fibrosis and finding the cure for muscular dystrophy, Jerry Lewis getting fired over that. These stories are in great details. Names are named, all the situations and days are in there, and the truth will come out. And it's in this book, again, called Epigenetics, and the subtitle is my favorite, The Death of the Genetic Theory of Disease Transmission, because there, in fact, is not a single disease that's genetically transmitted. Anything that appears to be genetically transmitted is caused by nutritional deficiencies of the DNA. In other words, DNA requires minerals and vitamins and amino acids to function properly. And if they're missing, they don't function properly, and you get diseases. And many of them, which are biochemical problems, you can actually put the mineral back, and the genes will then perform properly, and the disease
Right.
goes away.
How do you know if you're deficient? Like, do you have tests, or you just take the vitamins
Well,
because
there's
they'll help
two
you?
ways. Actually, you can do a hair analysis to find out if you're deficient in minerals. You can do an examination, or you can do a self-examination. We actually have these self-exam charts, and you can tell if you're deficient in certain vitamins, or omega-3 essential fatty acids, or amino acids. For instance, if you have white hair, regardless of your age, if you have white, gray, or silver hair, it's a copper deficiency. If you have...
Even when you're older and you're supposed to have it?
no, you're not supposed to have it.
You're never supposed to
You're
have white
supposed to
hair.
be died 300 years of age with whatever your original hair color was. Black, brown, red, blonde.
So how do you get copper? Like, what do you eat to get copper?
Well, nutritional minerals, Angel, do not occur in a uniform blanket around the crust of the earth. They occur in veins like chocolate and chocolate ripple ice cream. And this
Okay.
is why there's some people on earth that live to be 120,
Yes.
and people who do exactly the same thing, eat the same foods, farm the same way, maybe 1,000 miles away, all die in their 40s. And that's because the people who die in their 40s don't have any minerals naturally in their soil,
Gotcha.
whereas the ones who live to be 120 do. Okay? So how do the ones who live to be 40 live to be 120? They have to supplement with all these 90 essential nutrients.
Yep.
60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 essential amino acids, 3 essential fatty acids. And instead of hoping and praying that it's in the food, people say to me, well, I eat well, why do I have so many diseases? Well, that's because your plants only need 3 minerals and we need 60. And so if there's only 3 minerals in the soil, the plant is happy.
Yep. I
And so
see
you eat
what
this
you
happy
mean.
plant, which only has 3 minerals, you're only going to get 3 minerals from it.
Yep.
If you're 1,000 miles away and you're eating happy plants that have 60 minerals in it, you're getting 60 minerals. You're going to be healthier and live longer.
So do you also think that stress contributes as well to people losing their minerals maybe, or?
Well, stress can actually cause you to consume internally, biochemically, consume and use up your storages of vitamins and minerals quicker than you normally would.
Right, okay.
Okay, because it makes your systems go faster. It's like, which car is going to burn up faster if you don't have any oil in it? A car sitting in the garage or a car going around the track at 200 miles an hour?
Gotcha.
And so stress is making you like this car that's going 200 miles an hour, so you're going to consume your essential nutrients faster. And if you're not taking them in, and a good example are athletes. Athletes sweat, and sweat is not water. Sweat is a soup of all the nutrients floating around your blood. So if that athlete only drinks water, he's more likely to get a breakdown in his tendons and ligaments and cartilage and muscles and die earlier than an athlete who is supplementing with all the 90 essential nutrients, replacing what he's sweating out.
Okay, that's good to know because my son and my husband are both athletes, so.
Then they better supplement.
They do.
fact-
They supplement a lot.
Yeah, you have to. And,
Yeah.
and there's a tragic picture of a young man here in the club where he's only 21 years old and he was a champion rower here in this rowing club. And he's 21 years old and he died in his sleep the night after he had a big race. Well, he died of one of these cardiomyopathy heart attacks where I did the autopsies on 1,700 kids. This is very
Yes.
typical. They'll die that night or even die during the race. You say, well, he was in such good shape. He just exercised all the time. Well, he sweat out all his nutrients.
Yes.
He's only drinking water or maybe tea or maybe one of these sports drinks that have 2 nutrients in it.
Yeah, those sports drinks are horrible.
Yeah, and so we came up with a sports drink called Rebound that has 100 nutrients in it. And so we actually have professional teams of all sports, and we have Olympic teams of all sports and individual athletes who, from every sport, including hockey,
Yes.
rugby, and soccer, and a lot of Canadian sports, who use our programs because they don't break down like people who just drink water or these other sports drinks.
Yeah, we drink the Vega drinks. They have plant-based essential minerals and, yeah, not the Gatorade or Powerade or anything like that. We stay away from that because it's all full of sugar and,
You know, Gatorade has 2 minerals,
yeah,
and Powerade has 6.
okay.
Our Rebound has 77.